What's up, tennis fans? Sleepy Picks here. We have a semifinal to talk about at the Madrid Masters. Yannick Sinner taking on Arthur Fils. Let's take a look at the matchup. And here's a look at our first semifinal for the top half of the draw. Yannick Sinner taking on Arthur Fils. Sinner able to get through Rafa Jodar, and I think this match is a big time learning experience for Jodar. Obviously, going up against the number one player is never easy, but the first few games he was hanging tough, going shot for shot with him, had chances to break Sinner, doesn't convert them, and gets broken right after. And I think that's got to be a lesson for Jodar about managing your emotions. Now, obviously, I'm not saying, he was out of control emotionally. I just think there's a lot going into it with your nerves, with your adrenaline. And the announcers even mentioned that he was hitting the ball off the ground, on the ground strokes, 4 to 5 miles per hour, faster than he was the entire tournament. So he's just oozing with adrenaline, right? And it's so important to manage that, because what we saw was he got so close to getting a break and really setting a tone with Sinner in that first set, doesn't get it, and gets broken right after. And in that game that he gets broken, you can see there's just this dip in the level. And I feel like a lot of that is just being able to manage your emotions a little bit better there, because there's a lot of ebbs and flows in a tennis match. You're not going to convert every break point. Unfortunately, today, Jodar was 0 for 7 on the break points. That's just not going to get it done there. Sinner hitting pretty clean, 37 winners to the 30 winners of Jodar. And the second set, again, very similar. Jodar, multiple games of being able to, of having chances to break Sinner and not being able to convert them, to back-to-back Sinner service games with 15-40. And Sinner's able to come up with some really clutch shots. I mean, Sinner, just so many unbelievable shots today from him. Jodar really brought out the best of Sinner, in my opinion. We saw the drop shots come out on break points. We saw him open the court up with the big forehand. Just impressive stuff from Yannick Sinner, and he had to play, at the very least, that A- game to stay in control of this match. Now they get to the breaker, and for me, it was a little bit unfortunate. Obviously, a 7-0 breaker, that's not what anybody wants. But Jodar had played a very good second set. We got to give him credit for that. A few errors in that breaker, and the weight, obviously, of playing Yannick Sinner here. When you go down 5-0 in a breaker, you're just thinking, wow, I have to do so much more to come back. And it felt like he was overplaying towards the end of that breaker. But a good match overall for Jodar to kind of put his name out there and put a lot of the rest of the tour on notice that he is not going to be an easy customer at all on the clay, and someone is going to have to deal with him at Roland Garros. So he's going to be a tough out in the French Open. Sinner's able to advance 6-2, 7-6. Arthur Fils able to get through Lehecka, and we talked about this is their third matchup here between Fils and Lehecka this year, and they split their previous two matchups with Fils winning in, I believe it was Doha, and then Lehecka winning in Miami. And that Miami match, we kind of talked about how Fils noted that he was so emotionally drained from that match that he just felt like he couldn't give anymore. He lost it 2-2. It really just, and Fils kind of looked like a shell of himself out there. He had that very tough quarterfinal against Tommy Paul, able to save some match points and win that match. I mean, that was an incredible night match to watch. Probably top 5 matches of the year so far. But coming off that match, he just wasn't able to turn it back on. Now he plays Lehecka here in the quarterfinals of Madrid, and we knew that he was going to be ready to go from the first point, and he absolutely was. He was roping the ball even from the first couple of points. He looked so strong, gets up an early break, is able to kind of ride that to a 6-3 win. The second set is a little bit closer, a little bit trickier, as Lehecka was able to find a few more patterns to hit the forehand and control the court with his forehand. We did talk about how we felt like Feast was going to be able to find the backhand of Lehecka a little bit more, and that really, it's pretty obvious what he was trying to do. Most of the balls were going over to the outside of the court from Arthur Feast, and once he got his opening shot with the forehand, he was able to put it wherever he wanted. But Lehecka playing a little bit closer there, gives up one kind of messy game from him. And again, a lot of strong play from Feast. He's just playing tremendous offense on the clay. He's hitting his shots with so much confidence, hitting his serve with so much confidence. And he's able to advance 6-3, 6-4 over Yuri Lehecka. A very solid win for Arthur Feast. Looking at this head-to-head here between Sinner and Feast, it is 1-0 for Jannik Sinner, getting his one win in 2023 in Montpellier, indoor hard court 7-5, 6-2. So a little bit close there, and we know the indoor hard court, I feel like I would give an edge to Sinner there. He does play pretty well in the indoor hard court surface. Looking at his record, he is 115-25 on indoor hard court. So obviously he's a tough out on that surface. Now we come to the clay. Sinner also extremely strong on the clay, but Feast is not too bad himself. Jannik Sinner coming in, he's 9-0 on the clay. 11-2 last year, 11-2 the year before. Feast is also 9-0 on the clay. 10-4 last year, 14-10 the year before. Feast coming off that Madrid Open, that Barcelona Open win over Rublev, beating Jodar in the semifinals in 3 sets, and also beating Massetti on the way there too. Sinner, on the other hand, is coming off the Monte Carlo win, beating Carlos Alcaraz and Zverev in the semis and finals. On his way to the Madrid semi, Sinner was able to beat Bonzi in 3 sets, Moeller in straights, Norrie in straights, and Jodar in straights. Doesn't really seem like he's been pushed too much. Obviously, that Bonzi match, a very tough first set there that Sinner drops. Had some opportunities to win that set, drops it, but is able to only drop 5 games after that, winning 6-1, 6-4. And then, Moeller couldn't really offer anything to bother Sinner. Neither could Norrie. And then you had Jodar today, who's playing extremely solid clay court tennis. 12-1, I think it is now, for Jodar. So extremely solid clay court tennis from Rafa Jodar, and he showed it today. I mean, we saw the confidence from Jodar, and Sinner just a little bit too strong. And I think in years to come, Jodar is going to really be able to push the limit of Jannik Sinner. Arthur Feast, on the other hand, getting through Bousset in 3 sets, Nava in straights, Echeverry in straights, and Lehecka in straights. Obviously, these straight set matches, we talked about that Bousset match. I was a little bit concerned, given the fact that he had just played Barcelona, has to turn it around in about 4 or 5 days, plays Bousset in 3 sets. I was concerned going in against Nava. Feast able to take care of business there. Looked a little bit sluggish in that match, too. But then he comes out against Echeverry, and he's just 100% ready to go, roping the forehand like we're used to seeing. And the same thing today with Lehecka. He was just ready to go right out of the gate, and that allowed him to get a nice lead against Lehecka and really put that scoreboard pressure on him. This, to me, is going to be a tricky matchup. I really do question, and I know, guys, I keep saying it, what is left in the Feast tank? What like this is this guy just like a superhero? How is he still going playing all of these matches? I mean, we know these guys are as fit as can be on the tour, but we've seen Feast kind of struggle towards the end of some of these tournaments, very drained at the end of emotionally at the end of that Miami tournament, and also had the struggles last year. Very good clay season, but has to withdraw the French Open with the back injury. Now we see him, he's fully healthy. I'm very curious to see how this style is going to fit up against Jannik Sinner. Obviously, Feast has a very strong forehand. He can really bully Sinner around with that. He can get him to move a little bit more. If Feast is going to be able to be in control of a lot of these points, you got to favor him. But for me, guys, how Arthur Feast has not faced the firepower of a guy like Jannik Sinner. Probably the closest to that would have to be Jodar, right? But we saw Jodar's legs kind of give out towards the end of that semifinal in Barcelona. We're just looking right now at the win streak of Arthur Feast on the clay. Right now, that's probably the closest to the type of ground strokes he's going to face, and he did drop the first set to Jodar. Now you got a guy who's just as strong, who's able to now also work in a drop shot, has some touch, can come to net, has one of the best serves, if not the best serve on the tour right now, numbers-wise. I mean, this is a tough matchup here for Arthur Feast. I think keys for Arthur Feast, he's got to control the middle of the court with the forehand. He's got to take full advantage of the center second serve. We saw Jodar do that a couple of times here. Even on the first serve, Jodar was able to take advantage of that off of center serve. But if Feast can kind of take some cuts there, he's got to do that. He's got to keep Sinner on his back foot. I mean, I don't know how you're going to do that because Sinner just moves so well for a guy his size too, and he just hits the ball so clean. This is going to be a Sinner win, in my opinion. And I think it's going to be a straight set win. It kills me because we got both guys are undefeated coming in here. Like an unreal season for both these guys. And we're going to have one undefeated guy in the finals of Madrid with that streak. But I think this Arthur Feast winning streak comes to an end here. I think Sinner's going to win it in straight sets. I think it's going to be a very tough straight sets. I would be surprised if we saw like in this Jodar match a 6-2. I think it's going to be a very, very tricky straight set match, probably like 6-4, 7-6, or 7-5, 7-6, something of that nature, because Feast has that offense that he can really push a guy like Sinner if he gets control of the center of the court. But give me Sinner to advance to the finals in straight sets. And as always, guys, thanks again for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe. Share your picks in the comments. Share the video. We will have a video out for every single day of the Madrid Masters, recapping and talking about the picks coming up. So look out for those to keep up on everything tennis. Until then, I'll see you in the next video.